Welcome to @Global Pulse News. Fasten your seatbelts because today we're zooming straight into a moment that turned the usual drive through Mangochi into a full-on political spectacle as Peter Mutharika set off on his journey to Lilongwe. Yes, you heard right. The turn-off at Mangochi wasn't just a traffic moment, it was a headline in motion. Over the next 10 segments, we'll unpack 10 wild facts from that stopover, dissect what they mean for Malawi's politics, and yes, throw in a few cheeky jokes along the way because why not? Stay tuned, stay sharp, let's go. When Mutharika's convoy rolled through Mangochi, it wasn't just a motorcade. It was a full-blown show. Thousands of supporters lined the route, cheering, waving, and basically turning the turnoff into a festival of political energy. Sources say the stop at the Mangochi main roundabout was packed with party officials, traditional leaders, and ordinary Malawians who came out just to say, "We see you." What does this tell us? It signals that Mangochi remains a stronghold of visible support, and the optics are everything. For the DPP camp, the show of mass turnout sends a message. We're still here, and we're still relevant. But for the rest of the country, it raises the question, is this about national leadership or regional spotlight? Either way, as the convoy thundered by, one thing was clear. The engine was revved, and the road trip had official headline status. And if you thought the crowd was the only star of the show, hold tight, because next up, the mic got hot. Right after the cheers, out comes Alfred Gangata. Microphone in hand, no filter on standby. His speech, loud, clear, and sprinkled with analogies you'd hear in the township, not just the podium. He reminded the crowd that leadership isn't about the chair you sit on, it's about what you do with it. He said, "If your road is worse than your excuses, then you're giving us both." That bit resonated big time. What's the importance here? Gangata's words serve dual purposes: rally the base and also lay down a challenge. The challenge being actions now, not just slogans. In political terms, it's a shift from tone setting to expectation setting. And in Mangochi, that kind of talk eats well at a turnoff. But wait, just when the speeches were settling in, the vision part of the story wheeled into view. In classic campaign language with a twist, Gangata described Mutharika as a visionary leader who sees agriculture not just as maize, but as Malawi's next big asset, like Bitcoin, but green and soil-based. Now, call it clever or call it cornball, either way, it hit. The crowd cheered, the cameras flicked, and suddenly the narrative wasn't just about a stopover, it was about the promise of future harvests, future jobs, future growth. What's the subtext? If you label someone visionary in Mangochi, you're promising more than politics. You're promising prosperity, which means expectations rise. And when expectations rise, watch for the drop if not delivered. And speaking of drop, let's bring it down a notch, straight into the ground realness of what the people are saying. While the crowd was high on cheers and vision talk, underlying the fanfare was talk of dilapidated schools, bad roads, rougher than a breakup, and security concerns so persistent they're like a background hum you can't ignore. Gangata didn't shy away. He called out that some goats are sleeping with one eye open because security isn't what it should be. It's bold, it's blunt, and sadly, it's familiar. The importance? It's the moment when politics meets daily life. The voters aren't just listening to the show. They're measuring whether the price they pay, time, money, opportunity, matches the promise they're sold. In Mangochi, that measurement is loud, and when people measure, they remember. But here's where the story flips, because instead of shouting "fix it," the same stage called for something different. In the midst of frenzied applause, Gangata delivered something unexpected, a call for unity. He said, "Let's stop pointing fingers. Let's stop dividing by region like old mixtapes. Let's build together." Whoa, political teamwork? That's not often the headline, but there it was in Mangochi. It's significant because Malawi's politics often sound like duels. Here, it sounded like a team huddle. The message? We need you, Mr. Leader, and we need ourselves. Now that's a subtle shift from solo hero to citizen partner. And in the politics of today, that shift could make all the difference. Speaking of difference, let's get into the numbers because nothing says movement like mass presence. Word on the ground and from media outlets is that around 60,000 people turned up to that Mangochi turnaround. That isn't a rally, it's a mass mobilization. If attendance were votes, you'd say that telegraph of support is flashing bright red. Why does it matter? In politics, optics equal potential. When tens of thousands fill one spot, the narrative becomes the ground is moving. For opponents, that means time to strategize. For supporters, that means morale. For neutral observers, it means watch this space. But here's the twist. The sheer size of the crowd raises expectations of follow-through. Many people came expecting that whatever the hype was, it's now go time. And if go time slips, well, large crowds have sharp memories. Now, while all the hype was building, the destination quietly set the tone for what this is really about. Yes, the journey was to Lilongwe, the heart of power. But the Mangochi Turn-Off stop signaled that Mutharika's trip isn't just an airport hop. It's a strategic statement. He's letting Malawi know, I'm still in the game. Central region, North region, it doesn't matter. Destination, Lilongwe. Symbolism, national reach. What do you make of that? The route matters. The stopover matters. Because politics is geography as much as it is rhetoric. By performing a giant stop in Mangochi on the way to the capital, the message is I'm anchored here, but I'm going there too. That balance could define how this journey is remembered, as a regional wave or a national tide. But wait, destination isn't everything. Implementation is the next chapter, and that's where the talk gets real. Amid all the applause and hopeful slogans, Gangata said something that struck a chord. We don't want slogans painted on billboards. We want results stamped in our lives. Bam. Implementation. That's new language for many, but it's urgent language for the people. Because promises are cheap in politics. Actions cost real. When someone says they're done with promises, you know they're setting a deadline. For Mangochi, that means we're watching. And for Mutharika's team, that means you've got to deliver. The next challenge won't be whether you spoke at Mangochi, it'll be whether you moved something after Mangochi. And if the message of implementation hit home, the next fact delivers the hard truth behind why this trip matters. The crowd wasn't just entertained, they were incensed. Gangata declared change is needed, not next year, now. That's not campaign fluff, that's accountability talk. In Mangochi's turn-off moment, the rally became a forum of demand. The people weren't just greeting, they were expecting. And expecting means holding you to your word. The reality? If the status quo keeps chugging along, the photo op becomes the memory. If change begins, you'll look back and say, that Mangochi stop was the kickoff. So yes, this sounds dramatic, but in Malawi politics, drama often precedes action. And when the sentence change is needed comes from the crowd, you better believe someone heard it loud. Now, to tie it all up, what's the symbolic caption on this entire moment? In his closing remarks at the stop, Gangata didn't just say we support you. He said we are with you as a constituency and as citizens. That's not voter support language, that's partnership language. It signals that the crowd sees themselves as part of